What is up, guys? Wraith here, Graybearded Gaming Society, and we are coming at you with a different kind of adventure this time. For anybody who's been following along with my other project, Project Necro, what we decided to do at the 20th anniversary of EverQuest this year was to make a character and run them through a semi-classic experience in ways that I had never done before. And by that I mean, while I have Necros on live servers, they've always been either pre-built with a group, run with friends. I've never had to do the true solo fear kiting experience. And while I plan to keep that project going at the same time, one of the other things that's happened, of course, along the same vein of the 20th year anniversary is over on Project 99, they have released a brand new server that just launched a couple days ago, the Green server. And the Green server is a totally classic vanilla EverQuest experience right now. And the plan, as my understanding is they are going to release content along the same timeline that the original EverQuest game did. So in about 18-ish months, they should catch up to the blue server at Velius, and then I believe at that point the servers will merge together and be basically frozen in time at the Velius expansion. Now, of course, on our Project Necro, we've been playing on one of the TLPs that goes up to the Plains of Power. So while I've been carefully most times to label it as a semi-classic experience, the traveling has been easier. We've had the books and the plane of knowledge and things like that. We also haven't had to worry about corpse runs, and I've by no means been playing a deathless run. So in this case, if we're playing on one of these servers, death is a big deal, getting the corpse is a big deal. Now, one of the other things that we've decided to do to up the ante, so to speak, on making yet another character on a different server was I sat down with the wife, and when I told her what I was thinking about doing, she said, why don't we try to do a specific challenge as well as playing on the server. Now, some background there is my wife has also been a gamer. She's played MMOs with me throughout the years, whether it's EverQuest, EverQuest 2, WoW, Allods, Runes of Magic, various other games. But recently, she tends to play a lot of mobile games as well as playing The Sims. She really enjoys the game. But for anybody who's familiar with The Sims, or maybe has a family or friend who plays, they come up with a lot of challenges within the game to make playthroughs different, exciting, sometimes more difficult. So the challenge that we have come up with for the Project 99 Green server is going to be the following: the random only 9 lives challenge. Of course, as with any challenge, the idea is to try to get max level, and in this case, you only have 9 lives with which to do it. On top of that, we will random a race, we will random a class. When a character reaches 9 deaths, the character is retired. We will try to solo as much content as humanly possible, which means we will not immediately find groups, especially in some of the easy levels. It's going to be solo as much as possible. We will also not be accepting gifts on the character. So if one of my characters gets to, say, level 5 or 6 and dies, the character is retired, we roll a new character. We don't just hand down everything that the previous character had earned to that point. Now, we will not be turning down buffs. Obviously, the buffs in this game are just a crucial element of any gameplay experience on EverQuest, so we will seek buffs, we will trade buffs if we get a class that can do so. We will also participate in the server's economy, and by that what I mean is we will barter, we will buy and sell, we will, if this server takes the life of most every other EverQuest server that I've been on, the East Common Lands will become a hustling, bustling port of trade at some point in the near future, and we will take advantage of things like that. So, having said all of that, let us jump in. Let us roll up our first random character to get this adventure started. Now, what you will see when we pop in there is I did make a small character just to jump in and just see what the package I pulled down came with. And man, that music never does get old to me. I love that classic EverQuest music. But here we go. So here's the little character I made earlier just to kind of see what we got with the package, to get kind of familiarized with the UI that came down. But we are going to make a brand new character, and what we're going to do is run a random number generator to pick the race, then pick a class based on what races limits it down. And we know that in a few cases, we'll say like in humans, for instance, when and if we're running a human, if you pick a mage, if you pick a monk, well, maybe not monk, but in some of the classes will dictate starting cities. Same thing with like some of the half elves, I think, some of the classes or some of the religions at that point. So we will roll all of that down to see what we end up with. So out of the gate, let's open up our number generator. Pick a random number between 1 and 12.
3.
All right, so we are going to be a dwarf to start with. We have cleric, paladin, rogue, warrior. So we only have 4 settings to pick from here. Pick a random number between 1 and 4.
2.
So out of the gate, we are going to be a dwarven paladin to start off our adventures, which is not a horrible choice, not the best one out there, but we should see what we can do. Let's see what we got face-wise here. I think we'll go with this little dude right here. We'll accept that. Now, if we take a peek at our stats, dwarves start with pretty good strength and pretty good stamina. So what we probably want to make sure that we do is add a little bit to agility. Not much, but I believe it was 75 was where you wanted to be to make sure that you got the armor class bonus, if I'm not mistaken. There's something about, again, it's been a very long time, there's something about the agility, and then past that, I believe we're going to pump up our stamina, give ourselves even more hit points, and then we'll kind of split here. Stamina, strength. So decent starting stamina, decent starting strength. So we up the agility a little bit because paladins can wear heavy armor. So we wanted to make sure you get high enough to make sure that your armor is where it needs to be. Alright, let's get ourselves next. They only get to pick one religion, so that one we don't gonna have to roll on there, and of course we're always gonna start over in Kaladin. Let's pick us up a little name. Sure. See if we make it through, and we do. So here we go. Here will be our first character, randomly built, randomly crafted in our random only 9 lives challenge. Now we have popped out over here in Kaladin, and there's already a high elf over here, which is interesting. Of course, one thing, as anybody's been following along the other side, we have 17 players in Kaladin already, which is more than I've run across in most zones that I've been to in the entirety of my other playthrough. So, now one thing that we do have to be careful is it looks like some of my settings might have carried over from my original dude. So we're going to spend a few minutes here, and I'm going to get our UI all set up, get our first character off to the races, but we will be right back. Alright guys, we have made it through. We ran back to our guild hall really quickly. We turned in our tattered note, got our little dusty tunics to start the world off with. We're not going to need this, we'll just destroy that. No one stark notice, or one stark contrast you should notice almost immediately is, unlike the more forgiving TLPs, we start with no bags, no free bandages, none ya. Start a weapon, start a chest piece after you turn in a little bit of food and water to get you started, and then you are on your own. Now, of course, if we /do a who, there are a ton of people in the zone right now as the server is really super active as it's still very fresh. So we'll see what kind of progress we can kind of make. I wanted to make sure we at least got a character on the server kind of early to kind of start with. And as you could see by the pile of corpses already at the door to this place, this challenge is going to be very difficult. 9 lives total, and again, there's just, the terrain is just littered with little dead dwarves all over the place. But we will run around, we will get ourselves into a little bit of trouble. We'll see kind of what we can get. There's going to be all kind of other folks running around, so it's kind of going to be tense, at least to start with. But this will be the start of what should be a very interesting adventure. We'll run out here. We'll taunt away even though it doesn't do any good. Now one thing we did do, like I said, when we set up our UI a little bit, is that we did bind kind of early and made sure that we got our sense heading linked up to another. Oh, there we go. Get a little bit of loot. Got our sense heading linked up to just a movement button. So every time we tell it to move back and forth, we will start to slowly work on our sense heading at the same time. And what we didn't do a whole lot with our actual, like I said, UI. Made a combat window so we can filter out just combat and chat. And we might end up thinning that down at some point. Moved kind of our target in, most of our controls kind of in the middle here. And as you can see, things get pretty tense pretty quick because I was nervous there for a second. Health dropped pretty low pretty fast. Now again, there's going to be a ton of people out here. You got a brand new server. You got a lot of fans of the franchise. The place is going to be packed. So we will kind of poke around a little bit, see what we can get done. But I think that should be a pretty good spot to stop our first night of adventuring here. We will pick up roundabout in this area. Ooh, that will probably kill us. Yeah, we got a lot of people pulling things at a distance here as well. But we will start little fights here, little fights there. We will check in next time. We see kind of progress that we've made. I said I'll also be working to make sure that I get the infamous death counter. Time to go, because as we already have 2 little dudes on us. And just like that, if we don't get away, yep, now is not the time to get too brave here. So we're going to have to run to the guards and hope for the best. Thankfully, the guard saved their butts there, but there you go. Classic EverQuest in all of its glory. I said we almost died just that fast. Alright guys, I think that'll be a pretty good spot for the night. We're going to sit down here, get kind of put back together, but we will check in here and there at the start of our new adventure, the Randoms Only 9 Lives Challenge.